Alright, so today we are playing Pokemon Emerald Rogue. I will give a short rundown of how this game works cause it's pretty niche. It is a game that mixes up elements of roguelike with Pokemon. You catch Pokemon and fight the bosses pretty much like any Pokemon game, but the twist here is that the bosses are randomized and the routes and the Pokemon you find on the routes are also randomized. You cannot have more than 6 mons at any given time, and once a mon dies, it leaves your party forever. This is going to be my first attempt at a mono ground run. I have played this game for a few hours before, so I have some experience with it, but I haven't done a mono ground run before. Here are the rules for the challenge. I can only use ground type mons and their mega evolutions. I'm not going to have more than one Pokemon of the same species in my team. If a Pokemon is faints, they are dead forever. The game does permakill the Pokemon anyway, so there's no way out of this. I'm going to play at set battle mode. I have level caps enabled until the next gym. I cannot use any X items in battle, but I am allowing myself to use 2 healing items in every boss battle. That does make a game easier, but I don't think I can finish the challenge if I do not allow myself some healing items in every boss battle. This is due to the boss battles being in random order and them having random teams as well, so I have no idea of what to prepare for. Okay, before we start, a quick disclaimer. This is not a Nuzlocke, so I can catch multiple Pokemons on a single route. I feel like that is fair because of how encounters work in this game. Also, I have a TM for Earthquake and Volt Switch available to me even before I start the run because of me having bought it already. Having Earthquake is one of the big reasons as to why I decided on a Ground Monolock anyways. I have also kept only Gen 3 trainers enabled, but they can use Pokemon across all generations. Alright, so as we start, we are given a random starter choice. Our choices are a Hatenna, Clobbopus, and Craniados. Okay, never mind. Let's go to attempt 2. So in this attempt, our choices are a Numel, a Coughing, and a Shroomish. We can obviously only take the Numel. It's not the best starter I could have gotten, but we can work with it. I nickname him Humper, give him an emulate coin which I bought from previous runs, and let's get to work. So as you can see, we have a few different options marked by different overworld icons here. The difficulties are either calm, average, and tough. The harder the route, the more trainers you're going to face and the less options you'll have to catch. And the second word tells you about the type of the Pokemon you're going to find on the route. Rugged stands for rock, which I figure would be the best option for us to find a ground type because rock ground is such a common typing. The route had Lileps, Axew, and Corsola, none of which are eligible encounters. I level Humper up to level 15 on the route, teach him Earthquake with our TM, and get out of the route. For our next encounter, I decide to go on a catching contest instead of the corrosive route since I don't think there's a lot of ground poison types available to us. You can catch one encounter in a catching contest. It's an electric type catching contest and we do end up catching Sandy Socks. Considering our other option would be a Stunfisk, this is not bad. I name it Balls and we move on to the daycare stop. I heal my mons here and get ready for the first boss. Our first gym leader is Flannery, the fire type. It's a good thing that we are going against a type that we are advantageous against because we only have 2 mons in our party. Flannery reads with a Turtonator, which is a really strong mon for a first gym. We take him down with 2 earthquakes, but Humper is already at half health due to getting hit with 2 embers. Next comes out Flannery's Numel for a mirror match. My only hope is that we can outspeed and KO with an earthquake because Balls only has electric type moves on him. Unfortunately, Flannery's Numel is faster because Humper is hit by a single bulldoze and taken down. I send out Balls next, but with no way to damage the Numel, we wipe. Attempts 3, 4 and 5 do not give us a ground type starter. Attempts 6 and 7 we do get 2 mons to the ground first gym leader, but we wipe at the gym leader both times. For attempts 8 and 9 we again do not have a ground type starter. In attempt 10, we do get a Raihon as a starter and a Nidoking on the first route, and we get to the third gym, but we wipe there. Okay, so obviously we need to get a little lucky with our encounters here and get at least 4 ground types before the first gym to get somewhere with this challenge. Lightning finally strikes in attempt 13. We do not have a ground type starter, we start with a Ralts, but the first route available to us is a calm course route. I decided to try my luck here, and we end up catching Cutie, the sassy Galarian Stunfisk with dogshit IVs, Pi, the adamant Gible with an amazing nature and okay IVs, and Funschool, the relaxed sandy guest with good IVs. These are some perfect natures, and I finally see some hope here in this attempt. I level them all up, teach them Earthquake, and leave the route. There is an average course route available to us in the next set of encounters. We catch Dudate, the hasty Geodude with great IVs for a physical wall, and spin the jolly Drillbur with great IVs. My nature luck has been amazing this run with the exception of Dudate, but I can change that with a mint later on. I teach both our new members Earthquake, which is basically a rite of passage for our team. Also, with the exception of Cutie, all our mons are female, which is pretty cool. Go girls or something, you know. I give Pi an Eviolite, Cutie an Amulet coin, and the rest of the team some Oran berries. I can finally see some light at the end of the tunnel now with 5 great encounters. At our next encounter, we go to the daycare rest stop. We heal our mons and order 3 ground gems from the delivery guy. Ground gems are reusable, so they should be really overpowered with an EQ spam team. We can pick those up next time we visit the daycare. Alright, finally we are at our first gym leader, and it's Brawly this time. He leads with a Heracross while we lead with Pi. Brawly brings Pi to almost half health with an Arm Thrust, while we don't do much with Dragon Breath. I should have always clicked Earthquake here cause even resisted it deals more damage here, but I am a little rusty. Pi is dead to a crit here, so I decide to switch into Funschool to get a free switch, as Heracross is always going for Arm Thrust here. We trade Earthquakes and Aerial Aces after I harden once until Heracross goes down. I still end up using one energy root in this fight to keep myself out of crit range. Remember, I can use 2 healing items per boss battle. Next comes out Makuhita, who keeps on sand attack spamming and never uses another move. I kill it with 4 Mega Drains which bring us back to full health but at -3 accuracy. Next is a shiny Meditite. I'm scared to switch around pure power, so I decide to stay in and just deal damage. The Meditite goes for 2 work ups while I go for 2 earthquakes. The first one misses and the second one brings it down to less than half. This is really scary now because the Meditite is at +2 with work ups. I decide to just stay in because Funschool has a harden boost and I don't think anyone else can take a hit from this monster. Meditite goes for a detect wasting a turn and then we click Earthquake again while Meditite gets greedy and goes for another workup. Because the Meditite is at +3 now and Funschool does end up hitting it and we are getting out of this fight deathless. With this victory we are finally out of the Gym 1 purgatory and are able to move on to the next split. We do not find any new mons before the second gym, but Pi and Dudette do end up evolving into Gabite and Graveler. And I also used the one link cable I had in my bag to evolve Dudette into a Golem. This is a huge boost in our firepower and I am feeling confident. I only need to be careful with water, grass and ice moves. Everyone else is at my mercy. At the battle prep rest stop before the gym, I changed Dudate's ability to Sturdy and teach Pi Dragon Claw and we are ready for the next gym. Next is Norman with his normal types. I lead Cutie against his Mousehold. The Mousehold brings me to half health with a Super Fang and we hit back with Revenge, bringing Mousehold down to 1 HP. I go for a Sucker Punch which Mousehold anchors us into and next turn we end up Sucker Punching and killing the mouse family anyways. Next is Strudel. I switch to Dudette, who gets flattened and confused on the switch. Then the Strudel U-turns into Banary and we hit ourselves in confusion. Banary hits us with a return that does nothing and we KO with an earthquake. God, Golem is strong and with her defenses, I bet there's nothing's gonna happen to her for a while. Strudel comes back in as Norman's last mon, hits us with a U-turn, pops our Oranberry and then goes down with an EQ. That's Norman defeated and I feel unstoppable. For our next option, I do not see any ground type routes available to us, so I just end up going for a calm wet route in hopes of finding a ground water type since there's quite a few of those. And our gamble pays off. I find Nosy the Diglett there, who with Arena Trap is an amazing addition to Trap Kill Mons. Nosy and Spin both evolve into Ductrio and Excadrill. As I'm getting out of the route, I spot a Mudbray, which is a really good mon with stamina, but we already have 6 mons in the party. I decide to send Nosy into Daycare. Daycare basically works like a PC box where I can store 3 Pokemons at a time, and it recharges every time I beat a boss or visit a rest stop. I decide to put Nosy the Diglett in the box and get so hungry, the Mudbray. He has a quirky nature and okay IVs. And then this happened. I'll let you see this for yourself. Time after time, game after game, Mons have died to moves like Counter and Mirror Coat while using Speed Up. The worst part about this? I knew that Mudbrays carry the move Counter because mine had it while I got it, and I still ended up spamming Earthquakes. There is no iconic pair of Cutie and Pie left in my team. No Cutie Pies, just Pie. After this sad death, we are back to 5 mons, and I can't even call Nosy back from Daycare because I used up the charge. I decide to end up catching another Diglett with Calm Nature and Arena Trap and OK IVs and name him Nosy 2. I will end up releasing Nosy 1 later once I visit the Daycare. I fix some natures with mints and leave the route. Oh, during all this, So Hungry also ends up evolving into Mudsdale. The next leader we face is Winona. She leads with her Tropius while we have Pie out. We hit it with a Dragon Claw and Tropius hits us with a Leech Seed. I switch into Nosy 2 on Protect to set up Sandstorm, and then I switch into Spin with Rapid Spin to counter Leech Seed. I actually end up clicking Earthquake because I wasn't paying attention, but it's okay because Tropius can't do much damage to us in return. I Hone Claws on the Protect turns and Rapid Spin on the non-Protect turns. Tropius ends up setting a substitute, but Rapid Spin just KOs Tropius in the end. Next comes in Togetic, so Spin sets up Sandstorms again while Togetic uses Yawn. I switch into Dudette on Double Edges which are doing nothing to us and KO the Togetic with a Smackdown. Next comes in Rotom Fan. Rotom uses Air Slash for a tiny bit of damage and we hit it with Smackdown. Next turn, Dudette is flinched with an Air Slash, but that's just delaying the inevitable. She takes a KO the next turn with another Smackdown. Winona's last mon is Vivillon, and I switched Dudette out because I'm scared of Energy Ball. I switch into Pie and Vivillon uses Bug Buzz for a little less than half health. Pie takes her down with 2 Dragon Claws while Vivillon just goes for Supersonics. Nothing special happens in the next route except for Fun School evolving into a Palosand. The next gym leader we face is Watson, which should be easy for our electric types. He leads with a Rotom while we have Dudette out. We set up Stealth Rocks on Rotom's substitute and then take it down with Smackdowns and Earthquakes, while Rotom only does about a third of damage with a Hex. Next is Galvantula. I decide to stay in and hit it with an Earthquake thinking that it wouldn't have anything to hit me with. And it goes with an Energy Ball. That's it. One mistake and I lose Dudette. I should have thought about it a bit more, but unfortunately, I just underestimated this fight because it was Watson. I ended up losing a mon here. Dudette did not deserve it. She was a rock solid addition to our party. I sent in Pie to tank an Energy Ball and KO the rest of Watson's team with Earthquakes. I really need to lock in. I cannot be losing mons on easy fights. The next split is uneventful again and Pi finally evolves into a true powerhouse in Garchomp. We head into our next gym, which is Liza. Oh, by the way, now all gyms have a field effect active, so Liza has Psychic Terrain. She leads with Lunatone while I lead with Pi. I switch Pi out for Fun School because I'm scared of Ice Beams. We take half on the switch after Lefty's recovery. I use a Moo Milk to scout what she is going for, but Lunatone is still going for Ice Beams. I switch out to Spin, who is neutral to Ice Beams, and set up with Sword Dance, hoping to sweep. We are hit with an Earth Power, which I wasn't expecting at all, and are left with a Sliver. We have to hit a Rock Slide here for the KO because I cannot afford to switch anyone with the coverage Lunatone has. If this misses, Spin dies. And we hit it! Let's go, Spin! Next is Slowbro, and I'm not confident Spin can KO with an Earthquake even at +2, so I switch into Pi and KO with 2 crunches. We take a bit of damage on the switch with a Scald, but Slowbro then just goes for Nasty Plot. Next is Mega Gardevoir, and I switch into Nosy 2 on a Will-O-Wisp. We set up Sandstorm and Psyshock KOs us from there. Honestly, I wasn't expecting an Oku. I send in So Hungry to KO the Gardevoir with a single Heavy Slam and take a bit of damage with Hyper Poise on the process. Next comes in Slowking Galar. I protect to scout what it's going for and its Hydro Pump. So I sack So Hungry to get a safe switch into Pi and KO with an Earthquake. Looking back, Pi could have probably survived an Hydro on the switch, and sacking for a safe switch was a misplay. Bruxish comes out next and it goes down with 2 Dragon Claws because of a Focus Sash. That's the last mon from Liza, but the way I'm losing mons is not sustainable. We are down to 3 mons in our party against a gym we should be neutral to. In the next split, we aren't able to find anyone to replace with in our party either. So it's just me and my 3 ground types against the world. As I head into the next gym, I see the effect for rain pop in. This is what I have been scared of since I started the challenge. It is Juan, the water type leader. Juan leads with a Golisopod while I lead with Pi in Perma Rain. I hit it with a Dragon Claw for around 40% while Golisopod does around 50% with a rain boosted liquidation, but it takes Rough Skin in return and it's down to 50%. Another Dragon Claw does not knock Golisopod down and we are probably dead to another liquidation, but we have to stay in here. And we tough it out at 4 HP. That's Pi for you. And Golisopod goes down due to Rough Skin. That is really lucky. Next is Swift Swim Ludicolo. The only way I'm surviving this beast is if it misses Hydros. I switch in Fun School on a Fake Out and then he'll Pi up with a Max Potion next turn while Ludi misses a Hydro. Unfortunately, it hits the next one and down goes Fun School. I send in Pi hoping to get a crit or something, but she just goes down to 2 Ice Beams, doing about 70% with a Dragon Claw. Last, I send in Spin, who also goes down to a Hydro, and we wipe. We always need to do the water type gym leader early in the run when his mons aren't strong enough and there's no Perma Rain. Honestly though, the last attempt was a really good run with lucky encounters, but I still wasn't able to crack it. I'm going to call it now for a mono ground lock because the game is really tough and I'm just not good enough to do it yet. I would love to do something like a rock ground steel run with some sandstorm strats, that way I can also have some more encounter options, or I can just do a regular Hoenn run in my next video. Suggest what should I do next in the comments and leave a like if you had fun. See ya!